So just thought I'd show you a little fun thing you can do on Scratch, make some interesting patterns. Okay, so most of you have used Scratch before, so it's quite straightforward if you follow it step by step. So the first thing you need to do is just delete our cat sprite because we're not going to be using that. Okay, and then we need to add in the sprite we are using, which is going to be the ball one. Okay. Now you can change the colour of that by clicking on the costumes tab. So I'm going to have green, my favourite colour. Okay, and then we're going to start doing our code. Now, the first thing we need to do is to set up lots of different clones of this sprite. Okay, we're not just going to use the ball once. We need lots of the balls to make the pattern. Okay, so we actually need to create a clone of the sprite. So we're going to go over to events, and then we're going to do the when green flag is clicked. Okay, and what we're going to do first of all is just change the size of our ball because it's a little bit too big for what we want. Okay, so put mine to 25%. Okay, and then we also want our sprites to always start in the middle of the screen. So we're going to give it the starting place of 0, 0. Okay, my year 6 you should know that from the 4 quadrants. So that's going to place it right in the middle of our screen. And we can check that by pressing the green flag. Okay, so I've got my sprite's a lot smaller and it's in the centre of the screen. Okay, so now we need to get it to keep making clones of itself. So we're going to use the forever command. Okay, so we just want it to keep producing the same sprite over and over again. Okay, and then you need to find the create clone of myself. Okay, so that's telling the ball just to make another one of itself forever. Okay, now for our pattern to work, what we then need to do is just get it to turn slightly. Okay, so if we go to motion, okay, and then we click on turn. So at the moment it's 15 degrees. We're just going to set that to 10 degrees. Okay, now once you press your green flag at the moment, you'll just see the ball is almost spinning in place. Okay, what it's actually doing is just continuously producing a clone of itself and turning it around. Okay, but that's fine because that's what the basis of our pattern is based upon. Okay, now we're going to get that sprite to start moving out from the centre of the screen. So again, we need to give it the start point. Now for this, it's slightly different. We're going to go down to the control one, and it's when I start as a clone. Okay, we're not the green flag one this time, it's when I start as a clone. And again, we're going to use the forever command, and we're going to tell it to move. Now remember, the number of steps tells you how fast it goes. So it's set to 10 steps at the moment. Okay. Oh, I accidentally deleted it there. Let's just pop it back in. It's going to change that to 2 so it doesn't move too fast. Okay, now you can see how where previously those balls were spinning in place, now they're radiating towards the outside of the screen. Okay, and that's because we've told it to move. Now, as you can see on the screen, the problem here is that our sprites are hanging around the edges. Okay, and that's because Scratch only lets you have 300 of a sprite at one time. Okay, so we need to clear off those sprites once they've hit the edge of the screen. So we need to use the sensing command. So we want to tell it that if the sprites are touching the edge of the screen, we want it to disappear. Okay, so we're going to put the touching edge over there, and then we need to find the delete clone command. Okay, so we just need to slide that touching edge into the box. Okay, so if touching the edge now, it will delete that sprite, and we slide that under the movement one. So you can see now when it hits the edge, they disappear. Okay, and because we're deleting those clones, it will just go continuously. Now we haven't got the 300 limit because it's deleting it every time it's hitting the edge. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add the backdrop. Okay, so we're going to change it to a nice black one. I clicked on the wrong thing there. So you just click on your backdrop. okay, and the backdrop tab at the top, and you just want to make it all black really, because then the pattern stands out really nicely. Okay, so you can just make your whole backdrop black. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to add some controls in that allow us to alter our pattern. Okay, so you can see at the moment it's just the pattern we've always had. So we're going to put some controls in that are going to make us that are going to allow us to actually change some of the variables on the pattern. Okay, so we're going to look at the turning and the movement ones. Okay, so we're going to put a little slider in so we can change them through as the pattern's going through. So what you need to do is you need to create two variables. One's going to be angle, okay, and it's for all sprites, and the other's going to be speed. Okay, they should pop up in the top left of your screen. Okay. So then what we need to do is make those variables adjustable on that screen. Okay, because at the moment we've just got the values. So we're going to give it an angle to start at and a speed to start at as well. Okay, so we'll just set our angle at 10 like we did at the first time. Okay, and then we need to also do the same for speed. So if you choose speed from the drop down menu, okay, and we'll set that to 2, which is what we had at the start anyway. Okay. And then instead of just getting a number in there, we want to make it adjustable. So if you just drag your angle variable down into that one, and then also your speed one across to your steps one, okay, that means we can alter them. Now up here at the moment it's just the value, but we can change that by right clicking on those bars and changing it to slider. Okay, so you need to do it for both of them, and that means then we can alter those on the screen nice and easily. Okay, so if you press green now, it will always start with the values you've put in. Okay, but you can speed it up by moving the slider. Now you don't have to type anything in. Okay, you can just alter it by using those sliders. Now we want to put in there a command to delete the pattern as we're changing it. Okay, so we're going to use the when space is pressed. Okay, so we're going to add to that delete this clone. Now that means that if you're changing the pattern halfway through, you can delete it, the old pattern. So it's gone back to normal again, 10 and 2. Okay, so if I change it and I want to just see 32, I can then press space and it will clear it. Okay, you have to make sure you click back in the coding area for that to work. Okay, again I can speed it up, I can press space and it will clear it. Okay, so then all we need to do then is we're going to add some pen to our pattern. Okay, so at the moment our sprites are just moving around. Okay, but we're going to actually have them drawing a pattern. So to find pen, you need to click on the extensions at the bottom, and then pen will come up. I've got mine selected already. Okay. So what we need to do first of all is we want to put an erase command on this so that all the old patterns are cleared. Okay, and we're going to slot that underneath the start position before all the commands begin. Okay, then we're going to set the pen size command in. We're going to keep that at 1. Okay, and then we need to put the pen down so that it actually starts drawing. Unless you put the pen down, it won't leave a pattern. Okay, now when we click our green flag, okay, you can see instead of just a sprite, it's actually drawing that line behind it. Okay, making quite a nice pattern there. Again, you can change it, you can restart it. Okay, now I've changed the angle there, and again, if I want to clear it, make sure you click in this area, and then press space to clear it, and then you can see how it'll work. Okay, and then we've got the pen that we need to delete. So we deleted the clone on the last one, okay, but we want to delete the pen as well. Okay, so that every time we start anew, we don't have our old pattern on there. Okay, so we want to erase the pen and again delete the clone. So now if I change it, okay, and I can press space to clear it, Space sometimes doesn't work. Sometimes I have to press it a couple of times. Okay, you have to make sure you click back in the coding area. Okay, I can change the speed. Okay, and I want to start over again. Okay, so that just makes you able to start the patterns afresh every time. Okay, and the final step we're going to do is we're going to change the pen color. Okay, so if you click on pen again, we're going to slot it as the sprite's turning. We're just going to change the color by 1. Okay, and you'll see how that will bring up a variety then of different colors on your pattern. Okay, so remember, it'll always go back to the 10 and 2 at the start. You can see that every single sprite is changing the color by 1. Okay, and again, you can change the angle, you can change the speed. Remember, that space button will clear everything for you. Okay, so you can see all the different patterns that you can make. Okay, the other thing you can do is you can set your pen size as well. Okay, so that was a thin pen, okay, of only 1. Okay, but you can change that to make the pen thicker, and you can see what effect that has on your pattern. Okay, so although we've got 2 variables on the screen, you've also got your pen size that you can change as well. Okay, again, you can slide it, press space to clear it. Okay, and you can come up with some brilliant patterns. Okay, right, so have some fun with that and see what patterns you can make, see what happens with the different changes, and you may be able to get a picture of some of them to see.